not as powerful as the Emperor had foreseen.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Actually, it was 7 years ago, and in this galaxy that we currently inhabit, Disney bought Star Wars. Welcome to the Superfan Show, and another episode trying very hard to drive a stake into the heart of that misbegotten resurrection of a franchise. I'm your host, the Grendel, joined with
The king of all rumors, and I was wondering what in the world I was going to do with my life once Avengers Endgame, the credits rolled. Well, now I have found my purpose to make sure that we keep Star Wars Rise of Skywalker below 500 million.
We can do it. We can do it. It can be done. It can be done.
Let's talk about the fall of an empire, which
Yes.
was Star Wars.
Yeah, so 7 years ago, like I said, Disney purchased Star Wars for $4 billion from
Woo!
George Lucas, half in cash and half in Disney stock. We now fast forward 7 years later, and they have made $4.8 billion off of the movies that they have made. Of course, they've made more money from toys and whatnot, tie-in merchandising. Funnily enough, though, Force Awakens was half of that at $2.07 billion. So, you know, they got really lucky with that one and the excitement that surrounded it. But what else have they done since buying this license? Well, they gave the video game rights to EA, who've done fuck all with it, but we'll talk about that another time, you know, but good job getting, you know, government sanctions in video games, EA, with your fucking gambling, but whatever. The toys have been made poorly, and they're hard to find. They've had some books tied into the movies, but how much real creative license goes into those books? I mean, I would hate to write a book where someone told me, well, you can't talk about that, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, you know, but hey, it's an easy book to sell, so I can understand why people write them. So yeah, it's been a pretty sad 7 years so far, and it doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon.
No, not until I believe Kathleen Kennedy is replaced. Now, my initial reaction when George Lucas sold Star Wars was I can understand why he would do it after all the backlash he got for the prequels. The man was sad and he decided he wanted to get rid of this. Good job, he got a humongous payday. But immediately Disney started pissing me off. What was one of the first things that they did, and I'm sure it upset a lot of you old school fans? The EU, gone. Expanded Universe is gone. We're gonna call that the what are they? The Legends
yes.
series. So now that's all the Legends series. Then we got rid of Clone Wars, which is an incredible show, and thanks to Netflix for bringing it back for that 6th season to kind of wrap things up because Disney didn't have any patience for it. And I can understand it was running on Cartoon Network and there was probably licensing issues and things like that. But still, we cut that one before it was ready. So then what was the next step that aggravated me? LucasArts put a kibosh on any of the developing video games that were going on. So we kind of got a glimpse of how Disney was going to do business and how they were going to handle the Star Wars license. So getting rid of the expanded universe, I thought for sure we would see some incredible stories come out of that, taking some little bits and crannies from all that great, you know, expanded universe and stuffing it in these movies with some deep storytelling, and instead we got this surface level crap that we got today. But so right off the bat, it was already, you know, Disney was already on unsure footing with the old school fans. But to make things even worse, I would have to say the debacle with what you mentioned earlier, EA and Battlefront 2. And to think, to go back in retrospect, the backlash on that game and the amount of people that didn't want anything to do with it, I wonder how much of that bled over into The Last Jedi. Because fans were hot.
Fans were right.
It's very obvious that the only thing you guys care about is money. And so and talking about like product sales and stuff like that. The quality of Star Wars action figures, I mean, give me a break. And the releasing of products. I understand you don't want a bunch of products on the shelf, but it seems like whenever you release action figures, the first set you can never find after release day. The second, you know, series, you can always find plenty of them. And the third series is non-existent. And that to me is just ridiculous too, but that's just the way you guys seem to be doing business. But everybody's gonna get to look forward to Galaxy Edge. I'm sure that's where the heart of Disney, turning Galaxy.
Is that the new Razor they're coming out with?
No, that's our new Star Wars land where everybody's gonna go have fun and they're gonna make a buku bucks in the experience. And it looks like they've thrown everything at it. It looks to me like they put a hell of a lot more thought into Galaxy Edge than they put into these movies.
Yeah, and that's pretty much sums it up. And I think, at least my final point on this subject is, and what makes this so sad, is that George Lucas created this franchise that we all grew to love. He created this universe and these characters, and then after the first trilogy was done, when he wasn't sure if he was going to do any more Star Wars movies, he gave that universe to the Star Wars community. I think that's what Disney doesn't understand. In fact, I know it's what they don't understand, because you had people like Timothy Zahn that wrote The Heir to the Empire. And you had all these other authors that loved this franchise, that loved these characters, writing stories about them, and you had this entire large, literal universe. And then Disney bought it, and they did away with all that. And what Disney said with that is, Star Wars isn't yours. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to us. And they made the universe a much smaller and darker place.
That's what you get when you fork up $4 billion. You can do whatever you want. And what you've done with a wonderful franchise is you've run it into the ground. And I failed to mention Star Wars Rebels, one of the shining lights of the Disney taking over, because I thought Star Wars Rebels not as awesome as the Clone Wars series, but it still had a lot of surprises and a lot of interesting twists and turns and stuff. And some of the comic books, I'd have to say, Darth Vader's solo comic books were really good. The original few Star Wars comics that came out, some of the crossover stories they tried to do, a lot of the others like Lando and Leia, weren't as impressive as they could have been.
Yes.
So there were some shining lights.
Well, yeah, you will always get passionate, talented people working on a big property like this. You're always going to have that. And that's not the root problem. The root problem is who owns the property. Because for Disney to have talented people like that involved, but then to say that it has no problem with what EA has done with the Star Wars franchise. And I know why they say that, because all EA focuses on is making these shitty, half-finished live service games that are designed to pump more money out of you rather than the initial cost. And that fits into Disney's business plan, because Disney sees Star Wars, plain and simple, as an investment that it wants a return on. It doesn't care about the quality, and that's why it'll tell EA, good job with your 2 shitty fucking games so far, and that's why it will blame everybody but its own movie.
And that's why, see, I think you're being very generous, and you're saying, Disney's the cause of this. Kathleen Kennedy, we know who the cause is, and that's her. She's the quarterback. She's the one running the plays. She's the one saying this director can stay and this director can go. Look up any interview with so many different employees that are saying, hey, you don't rub this woman wrong or you're out. I mean, give me a break. All right. Her and Palpatine have a lot in common. That's our episode on how you can destroy an empire, and they've done a really good job of doing it.
They have. So it is our job as Star Wars fans to destroy this new empire.
Yeah.
We can do it.
See, this is the way I look at it. The Rise of Skywalker is there's a lot more in the balance than just, we want to put out a good movie. If the numbers suck, this was one of their last attempts. They're going to take a break from Star Wars for a while and regroup. Now, we'll see some Star Wars on the new, Disney Plus or Disney streaming service that they're going to have, which that, I got to say again, that Mandalorian trailer that I saw, that looked great.
Well, even DC can make a good cartoon.
Oh, mic drop again. So we'll leave you right there with The Fall of the Empire, and, maybe they replace Kathleen Kennedy, and, I don't know, maybe Kevin Feige will have some extra time. Take over Star Wars too.
Perhaps.
King of all rumors.
I'm the Grendel.
We're out.